is from the Chattanooga Times Free Press reporting that Steve Crump is leaving his position as District Attorney General. He is going to be in charge of the Conference of DAs in the state. So this is breaking news, broke about midday. Steve Crump stepping down to take that new post as executive, as Emily reported, executive director of the State District Attorney General's Conference. Chattanooga Times Free Press and Ben Benton broke this story at about midday. Steve Crump told the Times, quote, "My last day will be July 15th, at his first day, July 16th, as executive director, again, of the Tallahassee District Attorney General's Conference." All right, so we'll continue to report that at 3:08 now. Hello, we're on Mix 104.1 Radio. We're on MixTV.tv, and Ben Murphy, a Cleveland High School alum who helped on Avatar: Way of Water, won an Oscar for Best Visual Effects at the Oscars a few weeks ago. Ben, good afternoon. I about said good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Steve.
How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. It's great to be back in Cleveland for a little bit of time. It's nice to see family and friends and just to be in the city where I grew up and spent so many years.
Let's talk about that. You know, I've known you for many, many years, and your family. I've known your family most of my life. But Ben, let's talk about you and just a little bit about your background for those who don't know, and then up to what you're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. So born and raised here in Cleveland, Tennessee, went to Stewart Elementary, Cleveland Middle School, Cleveland High School. In Cleveland High School, I did a lot of the theater and media classes there, and that really set, the foundations of what I do today, currently with my career. And then I went to school at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, where I majored in cinema studies and journalism, electronic media. And then from there, after college, I did a couple of local things, and then I applied for an internship out in Los Angeles to be an intern for this editing program, or fellowship, editing fellowship out there. And that really catapulted me into really the work where I am today, where I worked at Warner Brothers. I worked on a couple of animated films at Warner Brothers for a few years. And then recently, for the past 5 years, I've been working on the Avatar films.
Wow. We're joined by Ben Murphy. All right. So you said for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Was that the film that just came out, or back in December, or was that the next film as well?
Yes, so we filmed actually 2 and like a quarter of the Avatar films for those 5 years. But for probably the past 2 years, we've been exclusively working on the one that just came out in December.
Okay.
But we did Avatar 2, 3, and a little bit of 4 filming, and then working on those ever since kind of late 2017.
So we're joined by Ben Murphy. Ben, in layman's terms, and for people like me, tell us what you did on the film.
Yeah, absolutely. So over 5 years, I've kind of had a role, but I've gotten more responsibility over time. I was hired as an assistant editor, which helps the editors, the main editors on the film. So if you ever see like edited by these people, there's typically one, or larger movies may have 3 or 4 head editors on there, but then they are accompanied by a lot of assistant editors, and there are people who help the editors edit the movie. Say if the editor cuts a scene, is like, I don't have time to do sound effects or visual effects on a scene. I have 3 other scenes I have to edit. It's up to you to do this stuff. Or if they're like, hey, I have 3 scenes I need to edit, but this one smaller scene I don't have time to, why don't you take a crack at it? So there's things like that that we help all the editors do. And on a movie like Avatar, we have so much footage coming in. So many different people are filming things. There's and it's all motion capture based. So we're editing every motion capture character that you see, or performance capture character you see. We have to ingest all this by character, and we're editing each character. So it's a lot of work, and there's a lot of big team.
So I mean, Ben, it would seem like even in editing a movie, this would be above, Avatar would be above and beyond a normal movie edit, one would think.
Absolutely. It's incredibly complex and complicated, and it still gives me a headache to this day. Every day I go in.
So you're still working on
Well, we're working on the next ones now. Yeah, so three and we're working. Yeah, well, yeah, we're specifically working on the next Avatar 3. Yes, right now.
Have you met James Cameron?
Oh, yes, I have. I work very closely with Jim Cameron.
Jim Cameron.
Yes, he's yes. So
What kind of guy is he?
What kind of guy is he?
What kind of guy is he like?
Yeah.
What kind of guy?
Yeah, he's a very intelligent person. He knows how to do, like, he has done everyone's job. So he expects a lot from you in a way that pushes yourself. And he's a man who knows exactly what he wants, and that's very good because he's very clear. And sometimes you get directors, I've worked with directors who don't know what they want, and that's kind of frustrating because they're like, all right, well, I can do 17 different things, and if you don't know what you want, I don't know what direction to go in. But he's a very good communicator and very clear, and I really like that about him. And he's a person who really cares about his crew and respects loyalty, which is a great thing.
We're joined by Ben Murphy. Ben, as you have heard, was assistant editor on Avatar: Way of Water, won Oscar for Best Visual Effects at the Academy Awards. First of all, let's talk about Oscar night.
Yeah.
Tell me about what you were doing.
Yeah. So for there, I wasn't actually at the Oscars, but the four head visual effects people, Richie Bainham, Eric Sandin, Joe Lettieri, and Dan Barrett were all there. But what we did was the very next day, our entire crew got together all to celebrate, and that was great. We had the cast, our director, producer, all of our cast and crew were there, and it was just a wonderful, they brought the Oscars there, and it was just a celebration of all the hard work and dedication that we'd all put into it. And for me, that was just really credible, and I'm very, very proud of our team and our crew.
What kind of hours are we talking on a daily basis? Like, what would a normal schedule be for you, Ben, when you're going to work?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so the film industry is notorious for long hours and very hard, labor-intensive, and luckily we have unions that protect us from being abused. But where a typical schedule, like when you sign a contract with a film production, they'll write your hours down. And for me, it's 50 hours a week. So I'm working it's like 9 to 8 or something. We all get lunch, lunch and dinner breaks and everything in there.
That's a little more normal than I thought, actually.
Yeah, but I mean, there will be overtime, but it's not every day.
Yeah.
And so, and we thankfully have a large team, and we're able to cover each other. So say if someone is sick, or if someone like, hey, it's, my wife's birthday or my kids have this thing to do. And we're like, absolutely, go do that. We have enough people to cover. So we're really supportive of one another and our crew. And there's a lot of long hours because in order to get the movie done and film everything, you kind of there's a lot of work to be done, but we're all very supportive of one another.
Ben Murphy is a Cleveland High School alum and part of the editing team on Avatar: Way of Water that won an Oscar for Best Visual Effects. You just heard he's working on the next Avatar right now. Let me go back now. Let's talk about your upbringing. How does your family react to that right here in Cleveland, to your success, to what you've been able to be a part of in Hollywood?
Yeah, I know that they're very proud, and I'm very thankful and grateful for all the support my parents, my brothers, my family and friends and teachers, mentors, everyone throughout my life in Cleveland and the East Tennessee have been to me. I'm very grateful for all the support I've been given. They're very proud of me, and it's hard to express into words, but I'm very happy that I'm able to make them proud.
Well, I want to go back too, because you mentioned Stewart School, where I went actually, and then Cleveland Middle, I guess, or at that point I was Cleveland Junior High, you're Cleveland Middle, and then Cleveland High School. Let's think about your experience at those schools. Maybe a few people who stick out to you at maybe Stewart or Cleveland Junior High School, Cleveland High School, and the Cleveland City School System.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot of good teachers I had, and elementary school, I can just walk you through a little bit. I mean, all my teachers were great, but Karen Hall was great. Miss Hall, I think I know she has a different role, I think, at the high school now. And then Jeff Elliott was really big for me. Jane Littlejohn, I don't think she's teaching anymore. And then in the middle school and then high school, I did a lot of theater and the video production classes there. So John Souders, who doesn't work at Cleveland High School anymore, but he works at North Cleveland Church of God. Yeah, he was instrumental for me, especially in my video production classes. He was great. And then I did theater with Anita Boggs, Shirley Pace there. But those programs, which I think are led now by Don Markham, was just going there and acting and being a part of a production that really fueled my creativity as well. And then I did a band for several years. So Jim Burton, Zach Riggins, and Caleb Bolognius and Rodney Williams, all through middle school and high school, they were instrumental. And for me, music is, editing, a lot of people equate it to putting a puzzle together, but I equate it more to writing music. I really love music, and I'm a musical person, but I can't play music really well. And I'm a horrible singer. So what editing to me is like a way to be musical in a sense, because the rhythm and the pace of a movie or a scene, it's got its own rhythm to it. And that's kind of how I express my musical abilities through that. So for them, those were the teachers, I'd say, in the Cleveland City Schools that impacted me.
Well, some all-stars. Hey, Ben, final question. So, I know you're busy right now with the next Avatar, and you're working on that. We're just joined us by Ben Murphy, Cleveland High School alum, working on Avatar out in Hollywood. But listen, the future. So, what do you think, man? I mean, what would you like to do in the future? There's some, obviously you're young, some things that maybe you'd like to do as you go along.
Yeah, well, I think career-wise, I would say I would want to, eventually one day become a full-fledged editor, drop the assistant title. That's probably, 5, 10, 15 years down the road for me. And that to me would be really cool, just to be like a full-fledged editor on a medium-tier movie. And then, eventually one day, maybe become like a producer for movies. A director is really hard. It's a lot of responsibility. And you have to be very fortunate and very lucky to land one of those roles. So I just don't think that's in the cards for me. But I think I could produce a movie pretty well, especially, give me 15 years or something like that. Career-wise, that would be good. But personally, something I'm starting to learn to do on the side is learn to fly a plane.
Oh, wow!
And that to me, it's a small hobby I picked up on the side.
It's a little more than a small hobby. But
yeah, no, it's a
pretty big hobby.
I know, but it excites me. I actually learned to start to fly a plane in New Zealand while I was there. Yeah.
So you did? So you were on location? Also.
Well, we were on. I was on location for about 2 years down in New Zealand.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
And that was fun to be with. And anyone listening, if you ever should I go to New Zealand? My recommendation to you is yes. It's a beautiful country. It's where they filmed the Lord of the Rings movies down there. It's just beautiful landscape. And the biggest thing is the people there are wonderful, wonderful people.
Good.
Just good-hearted people. And just you'll absolutely love it down there.
Ben Murphy, I tell you, Ben, it's great having you in here. Great to have you home in Cleveland. I know you got a lot more to do, and I just appreciate you coming by.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Steve. It's an honor to be here.
Well, God bless you, buddy, and tell your family I said hello.
All right, absolutely, we'll do.
So proud of you, buddy.
All right, thank you, Steve.
Proud. Glad to have our friend Caroline Corrigan also here with the Cleveland City School System, and she's doing a tremendous job. All right. Well, I'm going to get out of the seat and give it back to your rightful host, Dwayne Williams, who is the host of the Mix Afternoon Drive, driven by Mountain View Nissan of Cleveland. We'll be checking traffic and weather and a whole lot more coming up. Mix 1041 and MixTV.tv.